This video was supposed to release, like, way before Halo Campaign Evolved came out. I have not played Halo Campaign Evolved by the time I have recorded this specific part of the video. But, yeah, a lot of the things I say probably will be outdated depending on whether or not I actually like Halo Campaign Evolved, and I will give that game a chance, but it doesn't look very good so far. But, you know, anything can happen. Enjoy. Halo. The best gateway drug of all time, and probably my second favorite game franchise. First, obviously, being Sonic. And as we wait for the second coming of Hitler to release, I still have to ponder something. What the hell is Halo 7 even going to be? The remake could be as bad as it looks, but nobody would really care. It's not going to kill the franchise or anything. It is just gonna be C Anniversary 2, but worse. So instead, we should be looking forward to what the future holds for the Master Chief in the next mainline entry of the franchise. I'd rather be hopeful about a dream Halo game than all doom and gloom about the worst case scenario. And that's why today, I'll be covering this concept, expanding on what Infinite has given us and taking a look back into Halo's past to see what we can pull from out of there. And along the way, we could also get a little innovative. Before we start the next chapter of this little what-if scenario, I gotta do the thing. Like and subscribe for Halo, One Piece, and Sonic stuff or whatever. Gotta grow this thing somehow. Please note that this isn't a how to fix Halo video, but instead a look into how we as a community could possibly be satisfied with another Halo game release. Not saying this will please everybody, but please at least the wider fan base, obviously without delving too deep into shallow fan service. If I do step into that, I can't do anything about it. Anyways, let's start. Part 1. The mechanics. Sprint is gone, don't click off! I'm just saying the base movement of Halo Infinite that we got in practice did the stuff like the Delta modes, which remove sprint, is just like better, up the base movement speed and jump height like the mode did. Honestly insane how this just feels better to play, you know? Well, I'm not saying sprint should be booted from the series permanently. I'm saying that just for one game, if it's not too much to ask, ignoring all of my problems with sprint as a mechanic, a more classic feeling Halo style of movement again would be great to see in another mainline title. Having no sprint in those games wasn't because they were quote-unquote outdated. It was an explicit choice for maximum gameplay flow that worked for millions. Nobody would complain if it wasn't there for one game, especially since, spoiler alert, equipment like the grapple shot is still in this hypothetical, and every other Halo Infinite piece of equipment. So it's still like the same fast-paced game. Nothing's really changed. In fact, sprint in Halo Infinite didn't really change much anyways. It just limited you for no reason. It was really useless, actually. But if you want my ideas on how to improve sprints, watch this short, of which will be released at the same time as this video drops. Another core mechanic that should be implemented should absolutely be dual wielding. This mechanic has been gone for too long because there's some awesome strategizing in Halo 2 and 3. This will lead to other weapons being added back into the series, though we'll get there when we get there. And to the final piece of this Bungie Halo Glaze section, assassinations are back! Now, I went back and forth on this, if I wanted this, because I've seen the argument that assassinations slow down your gameplay a lot for a pointless animation, but in practice it's entirely inconsequential, and the game design hasn't really changed. Fast, snappy, quick animation that give you probably double XP of a normal back smack in this version, or ninja, whatever you want to call it, plus the risk and reward elements when it's public and such. So with that, assassinations can in fact return. And with that, that will probably end this segment of the video. Why was this so hard to record? Well, that just happened. Did I just say that? You know. Oh, and, bring back friendly fire, and I hope we can assassinate our own teammates. That was very funny. But don't do the autoban thing, that's extremely annoying. Instead, we should just have a vote kick system. But this vote kicking for betraying players is only eligible if there's too many betrayers. Like, let's say about 5 or more, or less. Comment on how many you choose. Hopefully this solves a problem that barely occurs, but a problem nonetheless, I guess. Always next again. Cosmetics, ethics. Ethics. Cosmetics are either bought with Spartan points, of which you can play the game to get, that's right, play the game to get, in the exchange, or progressing your rank. In other words, a normal game. Someone unlocks through quests, lifetime quests to be specific, whether that be campaign or multiplayer, I don't know. Armor coatings still exist, but only for extremely specific patterns on armors. You can choose any color you want otherwise. Primary armor color, secondary armor color, visor color. You can even, customize the colors of said armor coatings to make something look real cool. You don't have to pay or unlock stuff like that in the battle pass. In other words, a normal game. Now, weapon models and such are exchange exclusives, and yes, the exchange is going to be in this game because it's probably the best way of making a shop in Halo. Everyone would notice your armor to see your rank, but not many people are going to be paying attention to whether or not the scope of your battle rifle looks any different or whatever. Stuff like death effects and such are also exchange exclusives. Obviously, everything in the exchange is permanently there. Now, since Halo Studios would obviously want players coming back, they would make events where there are items worth a lot of Spartan points. You need to unlock them, but I'm not really interested in all that. And finally, I think we need better body type customization. It's extremely funny because it's like, welcome to Halo Infinite! What body type would you like your Spartan to have? We have a very diverse set of body types. We got waist, wider waist. Huh? Is that it? Well, obviously every Spartan would be the same size for balance purposes. Nobody would hate it if there were more visually distinct body types that you could choose, like multiple, more than 2, which barely count as body types, by the way. Look, just consult the graph I made right here of what this would look like. You could basically look like every era of Spartan, as every era of Spartan basically has a different body type when you really look at them. And finally, the thing that literally everybody wants, playable Sangheili. You can have the same customization types with colors and stuff, maybe not body types though, and progression grunts you whatever elite armor would suit the said rank. Like a normal game. You get the point now. I don't think it should be a debate. For playable elites should just always be a franchise staple. I don't care about it being a training simulator. The UNSC could just call them for training with the Spartans. The UNSC literally have the Sangheili allies. I think. Look, man, I'm not caught up with the books. Someone could correct me. But either way, let's just abandon this. Let's just abandon this. It's no fun for really anybody. It can't really be fun to adhere to because it doesn't really make that much sense as a progression of what the multiplayer can be. In fact, it literally limits it.
Ignore that was an accident.
It limits the possibilities for this game mode at launch. Just get rid of it. This isn't even part of the script. So, yeah, long story short, we're moving on. The smaller things.
Well, not exactly. This might be the longest section in the whole video, depending on how it turns out in the script, as the script and video have not been finished at the same time as recording this, and this video itself is just trying to catch up with the script.
Skip to this timestamp, there was going to be originally a bit of a joke where it's I'm elongating this for such a long amount of time, but then I thought it was very annoying with my whole voice and stuff. So I'm gonna have to skip there, and I don't feel like editing this whole video so that it cuts exactly where I cut off. I'm actively making my videos worse. Oh, look, it's about the time. SBMM and casual is stinky. Old matchmaking good. Give me your money and, die? I would love post-game lobbies to come back too. I was born way too late to experience that, but even I can tell they're infinitely better than infinite. But even I can tell they are infinitely better than pressing matchmaking button. Wait forever to connect to match. Once match is done, you leave that lobby, and you have to repeat that process. So yeah, I prefer the alternative, actually. Oh, and monetization. As fun as it was for me to collect the battle passes in Infinite through grinding, they gotta go. Rank progression is already filling the role of the thing you have to grind for to collect cosmetics, and the exchange is already taking up how to unlock event cosmetics that will permanently be there anyways, because the exploiting of FOMO should keel over and die in the gaming industry, actually. And since the in-game currency is no longer a thing either in Halo 7, hypothetically, because this would ideally be a finished game that you would spend like £70 on, you'd be paying for the whole game. So why would you need to spend more? Everything here has pretty much made both of these things redundant, and I feel that's the best case scenario. And finally, we have the UI. The part that's meant to hook the player. Considering what the last game set up, I find it appropriate that if we had an associated hue for this game, a combination of reds, yellows, and classic Halo blues, representing the Banished, the Endless, and, well, Halo. And so, the next up, we got, what's that thing that a first-person shooter game has? I think it's called weapons. They're called weapons, you idiot!
Cracking eggs.
Every weapon from Infinite is kept for this game. But one thing I am considering is bringing back the DMR and replace it with the Bandit. Now, the Bandit's cool, but the DMR is just a superior weapon. The Bloom would still be kept with the DMR, though, as the DMR doesn't work otherwise, as otherwise it becomes a broken laser gun. Personally, I'd love for the Platinum Repeater to come back, along with the SMG and Platinum Rifle. Since dual wielding is a thing now, and the SMG in Halo 2 was especially made with dual wielding in mind, it just makes sense to bring it back, because honestly this is the obvious conclusion that I've been leading up to this whole video. This is the reason why it wasn't in Halo Reach 4 or 5. And in case you want to say, actually in Halo 5 Guardians, it was in the multiplayer. Let me tell you that that is a terrible fan game for 2015. Not Halo 5, aka Halo Infinite. And for God's sake, bring back the Mauler, Brute Spiker, and Brute Shot. The Banished are known for their brutes. They're basically the brute faction. So why the hell wouldn't these all be here? Now, then there's also the other weapons, but honestly I'd rather have that conversation in the comment section on my Discord, which you should join. But for some reason, honestly, I think that's all I have to say about in terms of the weapons. Like, I expected to say more, because, you know, FPS games and weapons are kind of intrinsically linked. But, you know, guess I'm just pretty satisfied with Infinite Sandbox. Now, time for the modes! I don't feel like healing this time. The multiplayer modes! The game wouldn't exist without the modes, which is like saying a restaurant wouldn't exist without the food, but shut up. Now, we're gonna be clear here. Day 1, returning modes on launch will be Slayer, Big Team Battle, Fiesta, Firefight, Capture the Flag, Gain the Hill, Oddball, Infection, Shoddy Snipers, an official version of the zombie mode from Forges that was in Halo Infinite's Halloween update from 2024. Like how Infection was made as an official mode after being created by fans in Halo 2, except obviously with their help at least. Also, pay Forges more when they give your own game big content updates. If we are keeping sprints, we're definitely keeping the Delta playlist for this game as a mainstay, right below Quick Play. It's just too fun to not keep as a base feature for people who don't like sprint in multiplayer. Forge is also at launch too, feature complete and just as amazing as Infinite's, though hopefully with more polish. So basically, launch of content. Hey, you know what content hasn't released fully at the time of making this? This one, yeah. You see, I was gonna have it release before the release of Campaign Evolved, or at least in the time frame of the month of its release, and I could still technically do that, but I took too long. This video would have been finished before that if I wasn't so lazy. Well, it wasn't that I was lazy. Well, first of all, I have ADHD, so that might have changed a few things. But second of all, I'm working on way too many things. And honestly, I should probably, should have had, a schedule, different priorities before doing this. It's pretty much a massive problem I have. So, how about you get back to the video about Halo, and I sort out my massive problems before I die. And time for the highlight of this section, Invasion. Invasion is perhaps the best mode we can use to come back right now, especially with how I'm setting up this hypothetical Halo 7. With the long-awaited return of the elites, naturally we have to bring in the elite versus Spartan mode. Though I will say I have not played much of Invasion in Halo Infinite because they kept putting these things inside the main playlist and it's annoying, especially when it doesn't even make sense for it. Like seriously, why can't Invasion be its own playlist? But I have played quite a bit of Reach Invasion, and I'm a massive Battlefield fan, and this mode hits many of those notes for me due to the mechanical similarities in the respawn system. But that's not entirely related to the video. I will have a video about Battlefield later on at some point, maybe. But let me get to the point. Invasion is, to put it simply, fun and extremely immersive. Like, if you want a part of the game that makes you feel like you're genuinely a part of the Halo universe instead of a party game like Halo's multiplayer usually is meant to be, this is perfect. You can even have elites on the Spartan team too, and Spartans on the elite team. But through color coding them to know which one's on whose team. Are they allied with the UNSC or the Banished? The potential to expand Invasion with this UNSC versus Banished theming is something they should absolutely take. Hell, they should do that with the new original modes too. Make big modes that take advantage of large-scale warfare. A Halo multiplayer mode could have. And I don't mean like a battle royale or extraction shooter. No, I mean a mode that really makes you feel like you're in a war. This series sometimes feels like it's limited itself with its scale for so long, and I'll get to that on the second part that covers the campaign ideas. Look man, sometimes people just wants to feel like they're fighting something massive. And in a series that has such cool and massive iconic battles such as Halo, I feel we should try that with multiplayer too, no? Not to say we haven't tried. Warzone existed at some point, but I haven't played it, and it looks intense. Make something truly awesome. I love the more methodical and controlled chaos of the average Halo match as much as the next person, no matter the size. But hey, you could try. I'm confident that it could work, that it could be great. Maybe the gameplay wouldn't be as insane as I'm describing, but the sound design, the music, that would get the point across. Halo matches are usually pretty quiet, but if you do want to make something like that, then the match having a soundtrack would make it more cinematic. But that's a hypothetical. Sorry for getting a bit excited there. Let's just wrap this up, okay? Closing thoughts. Thanks for watching! This is usually the part where I give an update on how things are going, but to put it simply, I'm tired. I'll just work on part 2 for now, and I'll just say that there will be a channel update video soon, and I have a big announcement for all 2 people who actually give a damn about the topic I will be discussing, as that audience is long gone. For now, I'll be focusing on you, my modern audience, who is also extremely small, or maybe soon-to-be audience. I've basically started over at this point. So who really cares? If I could just snap away most of those 3,000 subs in return for my real audience, I would, but, you know, can't do much about that. Hope you enjoyed. See you next month for the update, and also a special other announcement that's a bit more personal to me. But for now, check out these bloopers. I thought they were pretty funny, so might as well put them at the end. Insert music. But the sound design, the music, that would get the potential to expand Invasion is something they should absolutely take. Hell, they should, I can't read! I'm an Undertale One Piece fan! Now, since Halo Studios would obviously want players coming back, they could make events where the items are worth a lot of Spartan points. I didn't put worth in the script. I'm so bad at this. Before we start the next chapter of this little what-if scenario, I gotta do the thing. Like and subscribe for Halo, One Piece, and Sonic stuff or whatever. Gotta grow this thing somehow. Please note that if the... I'm not saying Sprint should be booted from the series permanently. I'm saying that just for one game. If it's not too much to ask, ignoring all of my problems with Sprint as beast mechanic. That's not the right line. That's not the right line. That's not the right line. I'm an idiot. Yep, that's the end of the bloopers. No, that's it. That's everything. You can just stick around for the rest of the video. The rest of it's just gonna be this gameplay. I'm very proud of it. So, yep. I can keep talking, but obviously that's not what you want. I mean, I don't want to hear myself talk for 7 more minutes either. Enjoy yourself.
Five minutes remaining.